Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first installment of Chatting With. And today, I am joined and chatting with
Gregory.
First off, Alex. Want to say a few words?
Yeah, thank you for having me on today. I'm looking forward to this episode. So thank you for having me on today.
Gregory Kramer.
How are you?
And Patrick Porter.
What's up? Nice to be back.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I believe this is the first time Alex and Patrick has met.
I think so.
Yeah. What's up, Alex?
Good to see you on this episode. Let's see what kind of discussions are brought up tonight.
Yes, sir.
See, the first thing I thought we would talk about is like how we got into wrestling.
Okay, that sounds good.
Who wants to go first?
You can go first.
All right. How I got into wrestling. My dad was watching it, and he had it all over the house, and I started to watch it. Then I stopped after the whole Benoit thing. Then late 2014, 2015, I got back into it, and ever since, it's been like 5 years. I've been watching it.
Yeah.
Well, I got into it about a decade ago. It was just on TV at my grandma's house. I go to my brother. Hey, Tim, wrestling's on. Do you want to watch it with me? He said, no. So I go back in the living room and I watch it. It's 2010, so Jericho's champion with the suit on. Nice heel Jericho. Edge just came back. I think it's around April 2010. So it's about right before Extreme Rules. So
yeah, I'll go next if you guys are ready.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is kind of interesting because I think I mentioned this before, but I was just kind of one of those people, like, I grew up and I just literally seen it on the TV once as like a 4-year-old or so, and just have basically been into it since. My first memory, I think I told this story before, so I'll be really quick about it, was watching it at a babysitter's house. And when that original Gold Dust character came on, that babysitter was not too thrilled about it. So that was one of my first memories of the industry in general.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I can tell you my mother was called after my babysitter seen Gold Dust after he was fully unveiled.
So was this like his first gimmick?
Yes. Yeah, back
Okay.
in like 96 or 7 or possibly even a year earlier or so.
1996. Okay, let's see these pictures.
Wait till you see that.
See, with me, I basically grew up watching it on the TV screen when my father had it on, and remember watching it when I was in my walker when I was a baby.
Yeah.
And then and seeing stars such as Gold Dust or Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock, and so on during the Attitude Era.
Yeah, I can see why your mother would be called. Because I believe this is it.
Yeah,
That
pretty
image.
much. Pretty much. Imagine like an elderly religious, like heavily religious lady seeing that on the TV and not even knowing what to wrestling is, let alone something like that. I mean, and I always remember that kind of made me like it. I was like, wow, like if adults get so shocked over this, like this must be cool. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. My my first glimpse, my first wrestler that I ever saw live, I went to a show probably in September of 2010. I remember this so vividly. I saw Chavo Guerrero versus, I think, Rey Mysterio on SmackDown.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so, and that's where I got my first gold belt. So my dad bought me the toy version of it, and I had it ever since. So
Right.
that will be one of my prized possessions in is three things. The big gold belt, that poster that I have on my wall. I don't think Alex has seen it in my videos, but it's of that Boneyard match.
Oh, cool.
And I got the Chris Benoit DVD for only $10. So those are top three for me.
Nice.
And like a week before I got it, it's like, okay, I'm gonna buy this. I look on Amazon a week after. It's $124 on Amazon. So
that doesn't surprise me at all.
Thank goodness I bought that.
So Don, what's next? You got any other topics in mind for this one?
I thought we will go through and talk a little bit about each wrestling era, if that's all right with you guys.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, like, for example, we can, like, starting with, like, the Golden Era. Like, some of the wrestlers that we can, like, some of the favorite wrestlers, and more or less everything that we liked about the Golden, each era, more or less.
Okay. Sounds good. I guess I'll start this time. Obviously, that was pretty much before I was born. So I didn't really watch a lot of it. I know some friends who grew up watching that era, and I can recognize from them like how much it means to them. But me personally, I mean, I don't know if it's an era that I personally would like go back and watch. Like usually when I collect the DVDs or anything, I don't usually buy like anything before the 90s. But I have seen like a handful of like the older WWFs, and honestly, just I'm not a big fan of it, to be honest. I know that's like horrible to say, but I'm really not.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the new Golden Era either. It's kind of stale, if you ask me.
I can see how important it was for sure. Like, especially like watching some like the Hogan matches and stuff, like on the DVD compilations and stuff. I can see like why people enjoyed it so much. But yeah, I think for us, like the kind of younger generation, that's kind of getting a bit older now. But I don't think many of us really are into that era.
But the Golden Era definitely kind of brought us to where we are today in wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, honestly, if you look back at that 80s stuff and then compare it to like the past 10 years or so, it's so much more similar than the 80s was to like the 90s and the early 2000s.
Like I like the Ruthless Aggression era, and like going through from 2002 through 2008, and then going through 2009 through 2011. That's what the Punk, like the stuff with Punk got me invested in it. Like in 2010, oh, this is gonna be pure garbage. But then I started rewatching in 2011, like, okay, Punk got me on the bandwagon. Punk got me started with wrestling.
And say the next. Well, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Say the next era after the Golden Era will be the New Generation era.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what's your thoughts on the New Generation era?
Can I go first on that one?
Yes.
Okay, like for me personally, like that's definitely like the era like I grew up watching, and I will say like yeah, it's probably nostalgia, and it's like I said, like people are always going to feel different towards the era they grew up with, but I just feel like that era is so special. Maybe not in the absolute quality, like it's not like every pay-per-view is amazing or anything like that, but like in terms of the standard it's set for all the like huge legends that people still are paying money for today. Like that's when all the biggest stars just started coming up, like Austin and like I'm just trying to think of the names like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, like all those like giant names were like just kind of in the youth, kind of getting to their peak. So I think that era was really like great.
Well, you also have to mention two other stars that kind of made their name in the new generation era: Kevin Nash and Scott Hall.
Exactly.
And better known to the WWF during that new generation, Diesel and Razor Ramon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're two of my favorites. If you don't know, Scott is a hero of mine. But I got to meet Scott Hall about maybe like 2-3 years ago, and he was like, I was so starstruck. I was like, I'm meeting Scott Hall, standing right next to him, and that's one of my favorite autographs I have. It was so amazing meeting Scott Hall in person.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say I remember reading a couple things like saying that when that first happened, like when they went to WCW, people were really excited, but there was like a handful of people that got really mad about it once Hulk joined, because at that time like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash were like kind of young. I don't know how old they were. I'm sure they were either like late 20s, maybe to mid 30s age or something like that. But a lot of people thought Hulk was essentially like stealing their youth by joining that faction and then kind of putting himself ahead of it, while Hall and Nash were kind of like the background guys in comparison to them being like the main focus. I remember like reading that a lot of fans like didn't like that at the time.
I can see the point in that. Just in order to make the NWO more like the way it should be, you need another guy from the WWF, to really make a stamp on the NWO name.
You got it. And of course, Terry made that stamp. I mean, he's probably one of the most recognizable members of that original faction.
And saying, really, at the time when they start forming the NWO, who else did you really have with the big name status from the WWF than Hulk Hogan?
Mm-hmm.
If you ever watch RF video we did with Eric Bischoff, he talked about it.
Oh, nice.
Who was the third member? It was originally Sting, if you didn't know that. But Hogan told Bischoff, I want to be the third member. He was like, interesting. He was like, nice.
Well, if I remember, they said on the NWO Revolution documentary.
I have that one too.
I got that.
They said that Eric Bischoff really wanted Hulk Hogan to be part of the group, but they had a backup plan, which was Sting to be part if Hulk Hogan didn't pull through.
I'm surprised they didn't attempt to go with Luger, who was another huge name that just went over.
I don't think they would have met. Luger would have made that big of a stamp on with NWO than as Hulk Hogan would have.
No, definitely not.
And say, unless you have any other thoughts on the new generation era, we'll go to the Attitude Era.
Sounds good.
What's your thoughts on it?
Kind of mixed for me. I mean, I was talking with somebody else before about how it's kind of broken up into like what they call it, like the dawn of the Attitude Era, and then the actual like 1998 to 2000 era. And like, I don't know, I think I like that kind of like earlier era when Bret was still with the company. because honestly, I've never been a big Rock fan. Not like a big fan of Austin at that period. I liked his earlier stuff like a little bit better. So I don't know. I'm a little mixed, but there's a lot of good matches from that era for sure. But I'm a little mixed on the overall storylines of it, I'd say, when I look back on it.
Yeah, there's only one match I want to go back and watch from 1997, and that's the screw job of Survivor Series because the only Blu-ray I want, I mean, there's 3 Blu-rays I want. It's a CM Punk Blu-ray, which I already have on DVD. The Paul Heyman Blu-ray I have on DVD. But the only Blu-ray I don't have on DVD is a Shawn versus Brett doc.
Yeah. It's weird. It's not on the regular DVD. It's on the Blu-ray. The screw job.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that Greatest Rivalries
Yeah.
DVD? Yeah, I used to have that. I had to get it again. I mean, I think that's undeniable, that instead of having the two do a match or not doing a match, they at least did that DVD where they sat down and talked. I thought that was like just as exciting as if they were like, Shawn and Brett are going to do another match. Like, I remember being like super hyped whenever that DVD got announced, actually. I was looking forward to it.
And like, who would sit down and watch WrestleMania 26, Vince versus Brett? I mean, you could have had that in 97, like right after he screwed him, but you don't wait. Like, come on. They're like, what was Vince McMahon's age in 2010? Like in his 50s or 60s?
Yeah. That's interesting because I talked a lot. I'm not going to get too much into it, but I talked a lot about that match in particular and how excited I was for it and my thoughts on it. But one interesting fact about it was as to now, at least, it's one of the last times like Mr. McMahon actually had a match as that character. And that's going 10 years now. So I'd say maybe he is officially done as an in-ring.
Or as he should be.
Yes.
Getting up there in age. He's not a young cat.
Mm.
And like, I was a big fan of, like, I'm still a big fan of Shawn Michaels, but after I watched that amazing match in 2010 against Undertaker, like, I really thought that would be the end. Like, that's the end. Goodbye, Shawn Michaels. And like, work for NXT if you're not, but please do not come out of retirement. That made me pissed.
Well, here, I'm going to interrupt you because it's going to get heated here. Undeniably, and I've spoken about this openly. It seems like I was like one of the only people in the entire world, like huge Shawn Michaels fan, one of the first wrestlers I seen in the ring. Watched him all through, like had his tapes growing up, like everything. When he returned to take on Undertaker and Kane or whatever, I was like unbelievably excited. Like I was actually like very emotional even during that match. I thought I literally thought it was great. And now I'm shocked because even Chris Jericho's coming out saying, it's the worst thing I've ever seen or worst match I've ever seen. And I was like, really? Like it was not that bad. Like if you're an actual huge like Shawn Michaels fan, like
no,
it's great.
No, like I'm not saying it was bad at all. Like I'm saying like, okay, just wait for, like, you're already in the Hall of Fame. Like,
oh yeah, we know he did it for money. I would say yes, that is very true. I'm not going to deny that. But as a big fan, I was happy to see it one more time for sure.
Now, I already did with the two. Would you love to see Sting come out of retirement for the Undertaker? Because everyone wants it. Would you like to see that match?
Absolutely.
As long as it's just one match.
Yeah, not overkill.
My thoughts on it, because like I don't know, I don't want to just be rude or anything, but I think even if we get the announcement that they're going to do a match, I think we're at the point where it's not going to be like an actual match. It's probably going to be like the AJ Styles Undertaker, which when I did see that, I was like, that looks like after they finished that and they were probably editing it and finishing it and all that, they were like, maybe we could do something with like Undertaker and Sting like this.
Yeah, like when
that's what it seemed like to me, like, but I don't know.
Yeah, like when I saw it live, I liked the match. When I watched the development of it on the documentary of The Undertaker, I enjoyed it 50 times better because of the production of it.
Yeah.
And say, going back to like the martial arts screw job, try to go back to the keep it kind of attitude era related. I think they could have avoided the martial arts screw job anyway.
Yeah.
Because they could have had Undertaker to be part of the match.
Uh-huh.
And since Brett didn't want to drop the belt to Shawn, they could have had Undertaker pin Brett. Then Undertaker dropped the belt a month later to Shawn.
Yeah.
Sounds interesting to me. I mean, I would have been interested to see because Brett was always like, I'll lose the championship to anyone you put, but he's just like, but not Shawn Michaels. So like, we'd be interested to see if that was true or not. If they would have been like, okay, well, you're gonna face blah 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 instead.
Well, Brett's point of view is he felt like he didn't have Shawn Michaels' respect, so he didn't want to drop the belt to Shawn Michaels. And I can understand that because the way Shawn was at that time.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I had to agree with what Undertaker said, which was to add him to the match, make it a threat, and then have Brett drop the belt to Undertaker, then have Undertaker drop a month later to Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Because imagine, like, if they did it that way, and then when they did that, like, Hell in a Cell or something, like, that was, like, a championship match, and then, like, that would have been interesting.
And then going to the next era, which Patrick will know a little bit more about, the PG era. Well, actually, the Ruthless Aggression era. Then, so what's your thoughts on the Ruthless Aggression?
We need blood.
That's one thing that Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression had that PG era doesn't have. Had that the PG era doesn't have.
Yeah.
Blood.
Well, other than AEW now, I guess.
Yeah.
WWE definitely not.
Like, I think I'm going back through, like, are we at 2008 yet? Yeah, I think we are at. Yeah. So, like, in 2008, like, I think Edge wanted to bleed at that SummerSlam match, but Vince wouldn't have it. So I think the last TV-14 DVD we ever had and pay-per-view was the Great American Bash with the first blood match.
That's interesting. Yeah, I like the Ruthless Aggression era a lot. Like, it's like I said, like, I'm not like a big UFC fan, but I'm actually like a fan of just like actual martial arts like Kung Fu or like Taekwondo or karate, like however, all that stuff. But when I think of like the Ruthless Aggression era, that's the first thing I think of is like, it's one of the eras that actually seems the most to me like real athletic wrestling. Like the most closest to it that WWE has ever gotten would probably be that era for sure.
And you get there's actually 3 emotional matches you get in the PG and Ruthless. You get Shawn Michaels versus Ric Flair, and you also get the birth of John Cena. The rise of Cena, Kurt Angle, the Undertaker Orton rivalry. I mean, you get the Edge and John Cena rivalry. I mean, there's a bunch of rivalries. I don't want to fill up the whole video, but there's a lot of rivalries back.
See, that's a little later, I guess. When I think about it, I'm thinking more of like 2002 to like 4, something like that. Like that was an undeniable era. Think of all the legends, like not just legends of WWE, but like legends of wrestling, literally, like absolute icons of the whole wrestling history that were actually like in the ring, like wrestling at that era, like 2002 or like even 2001 or so, to even 2000 until about 2004. It was just like crazy. Like that, it's like the equivalent of seeing, you could compare it to like, you know, going to see like the Rolling Stones compared to seeing Justin Bieber now. Like it's almost like that. Maybe that doesn't make sense, but I'm talking.
Yeah.
You pay money. You go to arena. You're seeing like Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair. You're seeing Kurt Angle versus Triple H, or you know, just those names that are like never gonna die.
Yeah.
Compared to like, oh, you're paying money now and you're seeing Roman Reigns against Jey Uso. Like who cares?
And you get the high point of Eddie Guerrero's WWE run and WWE title run against Donnie's least favorite superstar. Oh, fuck, I got him started.
Who's that?
Do you really want me to say it?
I was gonna take a guess.
Go ahead.
JBL?
No.
No.
Okay, no. Big
No.
Show? I don't know.
Brock fucking
Oh.
Lesnar.
Yeah.
The next big thing, the next worst thing. Donnie, I seriously have a question for you. When did you start not liking Brock Lesnar?
When he returned in 2012.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So I like Brock Lesnar from 2002 to 2004.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That Brock Lesnar I love. From 2012 to present, nah.
He did a really good one at like the 2003 SummerSlam against Kurt Angle that not a lot of people really mention.
I love their match at WrestleMania 19.
Yeah.
A lot with that botched shooting star press. God damn it.
But that's what I mean, like something like that, like Brock Lesnar, Kurt Angle, like that's almost like real wrestling. Like, yes, it's more like obviously in Olympic wrestling, they're not jumping and doing flips or anything. But I don't know. It's just like wrestling's kind of its own. Like, imagine if wrestling was like, oh man, if they were actually doing that to each other, like competing against each other, like they'd be dead probably. Like, because really all real wrestling is just like holding someone to the ground, like from a, you know, like a kind of a crouched position. Like they don't even stand up basically.
Yeah, just imagine those chair shots if those were actually real.
Yeah, they are in some of that backyard stuff. Like,
yeah. What are your thoughts, Donnie, on the era?
I love the Ruthless Aggression era. A lot of it, I would say, you had to give credit to like JBL during some of it, like because he was the longest SmackDown or WWE champion on SmackDown. A lot of it you also had to give it to Triple H because he was really the really carried Raw as well, let alone WWE during that time.
And you also got to take that. Also, you got to believe in. You also got to take in like that Eddie Guerrero blade job in 2004.
like, one thing sorry, go ahead.
When like I didn't know like the refs got like blades to like cut themselves. Like I literally thought that was like real shit.
One thing I wanted to mention too was like the absolute resurgence of the career of Shawn Michaels. Like so many people even say that second part of the career was even more undeniable than the first.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to blood, there's two ways of doing it. There's the hard way and there's the easy way, which would be the blade job.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when somebody actually gets busted open, like it's more like little spots of blood, because you're not going to be like lacerated like from a punch. It's usually just like a couple spots that might just be kind of like bleeding, almost like big pimples or something. Like I don't think people actually get lacerated from like punches and stuff. Even like a chair shot, I don't know if being hit with a steel chair would even cut someone open, to be honest.
No.
Well, if it's done right, maybe, but I don't believe if it's just a normal chair shot. No.
Yeah.
No, that Eddie Guerrero blade job was actually a blade job.
Another one that's shocking too, if you guys haven't watched, is like Shawn Michaels and Triple H from like that Royal Rumble 2004, like the same one where Chris Benoit wins. They're like bleeding like ridiculously. It's like the biggest blood that Shawn ever did, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like I could see it now, like during the like present time when there's actually like, okay, so they allow blood in like one match.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not a blade job. That's like what you said, like those big pimples. Like,
Yeah. I don't know what that would be actually called, but I know that you're thinking of the same thing that I'm talking about.
mm-hmm.
But I think they did one blood like recently. It wasn't like Randy Orton or someone was like bleeding onto the mat and stuff.
Yeah, like I know Diane's gonna hate me for this, but that SummerSlam 2016 match with Orton, when Lesnar keeps busting him open and stuff and doesn't know how to stop.
Yeah.
And since we're already into it a little bit anyway, let's go into the PG era.
The minute the PG era started, it needed to stop.
I don't think it's ever going to stop.
Neither do I.
Well, you do have. There's one thing the PG era has: the rise of CM Punk. The WWE era that boosted CM Punk is the PG era, 2011 through 2013. And then you also have the PG era that ruined CM Punk, made him leave. And then you have the stupid NXT at SummerSlam. That match was awful.
Yeah, I'm kind of like I literally barely even I couldn't watch a full WWE thing anymore just because like I'm just really not into it. I'm just way more into like stuff from the past or like maybe a little bit of AEW here and there ish. I'm just more into like the stories of what's going on and like.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Like, okay, so you get stopped, or do you like watch? Do you watch AEW?
Well, pretty much. I stopped watching probably about right when you started. Like, so I watched from about 95 until about 05 or something like that. And then in about 2010, I heard that Brett was coming back. So I kind of started like listening to some podcasts, like figuring out kind of what was going on. And then like for a while, back before WWE started copywriting everything, I used to watch like some Raw like on YouTube and stuff like for a while, like a year or two. Then I watched like TNA when Hogan was like on, and then somewhere around 2012. So I just was like, no, I was like, I just watch old stuff. But yeah, I watch AEW, not all the time, because honestly, I find it's very like hit or miss. And like, it's like people are like, we're hoping, oh, it's going to be great and every match is going to be great. It's definitely not. It's got those problems where it's like, it does have some pretty bad stuff. A couple of things made me like, okay, I'm not watching this anymore, but they have good matches from time to time. So sometimes I'll check it back. Like And they've done some good jobs with some guys I never cared about, like Dean Ambrose. I basically never liked, and now I think they're doing so much better with him. Where if I
Yeah.
know he's on, I'll actually check it out.
Yeah, like I'm in Florida for 2 weeks, so like, what do I really need to watch when I get home? Probably the draft. I'm not really sure, but I will watch those AEW matches. My favorite era, well, on here is probably 2014 through 2016, when you have the rise of Daniel Bryan, and then you have my most probably favorite rivalry of 2016 is Dolph versus The Miz. With the
Well, speaking of that, I'll just stop you there for a sec, because that's somebody that I would give credit for, and I think I mentioned this on one of Donnie's shows before. But if I had to mention like two standouts for me from like 2010 to 2020, I think it would be like John Morrison and Dolph Ziggler. Like, I really, not even joking, I think they could have been like the Brett versus Shawn of that, like 2010 to 2020, but they just always just kind of got thrown to the side. But that's too bad, because they're probably getting close to their 40s or so now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, The Miz is, I think. Yeah, I mean, I could watch that No Mercy match with Dolph Ziggler and The Miz probably 20 times over and still get excited. Like, oh my God, Ziggler won. Like, I just watched like the 2016 strand of AJ Styles winning the WWE title, going through like January.
Oh my God.
Like April through October. Like, I just watched all of those.
Nice.
And I still got excited. Like, holy crap, what is this? Like, this is a new era. Like, and then Shane McMahon came in it, and I just turned it off. I cannot take Shane McMahon seriously anymore. So, like he returns in 2020. Okay, will there be a GM of Raw? Finally. Oh, it's just Raw Underground.
Oh, did we ever get to talk about that?
Don't get me started with that.
Don't tell me I'm the only person who's like, that's actually cool. Like, I think it is.
I like the idea, but they show it 3 times on Raw.
Yeah.
Once.
No one needs to see it 3 times.
Oh, man.
Nobody.
I think it's cool.
I like it, but 3 times. I don't like it.
For me, if they would, instead of showing it like 3 times for like 2 to 3 minutes, if they would do like one time for like 10 minutes straight, then I'll be happy with it. But 3 times for like 3 minutes, I don't really care for like 3 times for like 3 minutes each.
Do you think they're going to do like a full pay-per-view of it at least before they do away with it, or like
no?
No, oh, it's too bad.
And can we just talk about one superstar real quick? What in the world is going on with Braun Strowman?
No comment.
Idea.
I would say literally they killed him off when they put him in a tag match with like a 10-year-old.
Okay, so Alex, since you're not watching in 2020, well, probably you are, but okay, so I'll set the thing for you. April is WrestleMania. He wins the Universal Championship. He's on SmackDown. Fine. Perfect. For right now, he's on Raw. Raw Underground. I don't give a care. Right now, he's on Raw. SmackDown, next Friday, he has a Universal Championship match against Roman Reigns. But that same night that they announced it, he got drafted to Raw.
Yeah, see that
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that does not make me want to tune in. I'll say that.
It doesn't make me want to tune in either, but
It's a shame though, because I guess I would say he could have been like a standout, but he really makes me think like he's basically going to become like this era's Big Show. Like just kind of like throw him in there when we need him. Like he can do like comedy, lighthearted stuff, and he can also kind of be scary. So it's almost like he's kind of like the new Big Show. Definitely, if you think of Big Show from like 2001 to friggin', whenever he left, he was kind of like doing that same thing too. Like he could do the genuine comedy or like, posing with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, like stuff like that. But then he could also, they make him a heel for like a month or something. So that's basically what Braun Strowman is now to me.
I want to ask one of the three of you to try to make me a little bit more sense out of why WWE drafted an entire storyline from Raw to SmackDown, and that was Mysterio and Seth Rollins feud.
That I don't know.
Okay, when I saw, like, okay, Rollins finally went to SmackDown after 5 years on Raw. Yes! Rey Mysterio and Dominic. Crap.
They had Buddy Murphy to SmackDown.
Oh my god.
What's this? Rey Mysterio's son or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alex, you don't need to tune in to
No,
that.
I don't think I'll sit out for that.
But you also get, okay, that makes no sense.
Is he any good though? Like, is he actual wrestling now, or is he just like
No,
He's
fist fighting?
wrestling
Or
now.
wrestle.
oh wow, that's cool.
He's wrestling and
Good
losing.
for him, I guess. But
He's wrestling and losing.
yeah,
Basically, like his father.
I'm gonna check that out maybe.
Okay, so like, Donnie or Greg, when did this rivalry start? At Extreme Rules, right?
Correct.
Just gonna look up a picture of him.
When, Extreme Rules. I'm looking up on my computer. 2020. The horror show in July. Why is that rivalry still going on?
Not a clue.
Who knows?
I'm just looking up pictures of him in his like wrestling gear. That's pretty weird. Well, I'm not gonna say it's weird, but I get,
And just to let you know, Alex,
it looks like Roman Reigns a little bit.
Just to let you know, Alex, Dominic does have like a little bit of a tribute to his father in his entrance music.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll have to check out like one of his matches or something. Just might as well for the legacy.
He's not a He's not a
because he has the Bioka 619 in his
Nice.
theme music.
That's cool.
I would have loved to see. Okay, so in 2005, you had Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. 15 years later, at 2020 SummerSlam, I would have loved to see the car and just see Rey Mysterio and Dominic just pay tribute to Eddie Guerrero 15 years later. But no, you just come out on a stupid aisleway. So no, I believe WWE, I know they care about Eddie Guerrero, but simply they don't. But Seth Rollins did dress in the attire of Halloween Havoc 1990 whatever.
Oh, nice.
97.
Yep.
And it's like, in 2016, you had the first ever Hell in a Cell women's match. I was excited for it. But now that you have Hell in a Cell 2019, screw that. Okay. If Alex hasn't seen that, they did this 2 years in a row. They ended it on DQ.
The Hell in a Cell on DQ? Come on now. Like, honestly, I think somebody was talking about it on Twitter, and I was reading it. I was really fascinated. I think I commented on it too. It's like, did WWE kill the Hell in a Cell? And I would say honestly, yes, because I think that match had the potential to have people actually tune in, like if it was kind of like the right names. Like I think the Hell in a Cell could still be like a big event where people are going to be like, well, it might be a little bit more violent. It's going to kind of be like a step up. But they totally did away with that. Like I literally said, it literally looks like a McDonald's playroom now. And it's just like, it has no like intensity for me or anything. And I have that DVD, like the Hell in a Cell DVD. And like those matches were just like crazy back then. Like, I don't know. I'm really disappointed on kind of what they did with that concept. They should have just either let it die or not done it. Or
my favorite match from this era for Hell in a Cell would probably be the Jeff Hardy versus Randy Orton, because he put a screwdriver through his ear.
And say for Hell in a Cell, for me, I had to agree with Alex that they should have the top tier names, but they also shouldn't have. They shouldn't have the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view every year.
Yeah, see, I think that ruins so much of the matches, because I thought it was cooler back in the old days where, like, on just some random pay-per-view, like, I don't know, No Mercy or something, there'd be a Hell in a Cell match. Like, I like that more than, like, well, there's a Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. What type of match are we going to do? Oh, yeah, I don't know. Hell in a Cell? Like, I don't know. I just think that's alone is killing WWE. Like,
but I think the storyline should have to be built to that match.
Yeah, instead of like building it to the pay-per-view, so it's just kind of we got to squeeze in. Like these guys could be in a storyline for like a month, but we're just going to squeeze in a Hell in a Cell match because at the end of the month we got the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. Like I don't know whose idea it was to do that, and I'm surprised they're still doing it. Like they do it with I'm just trying to think of the ones I know about. It's like tables, ladders, and chairs, and like Extreme Rules. So like once they started like naming, that really did a lot of harm to like the storyline writing and stuff. I think it just made it a lot lazier.
Like I have 2 points.
Too game show. Like it really reminds me of like a game show or like something like that. I'm not a fan of that.
Like I have 2 points to the Hell in a Cell thing. First off, you ruined the Fiend's gimmick. You have Fiend 2019 SummerSlam. Okay, this is great. 2019 Hell in a Cell. Okay, we can forget about this character. But now, like, okay, the Fiend is good again. And then Alex, the Hell in a Cell thing is so bad. They need.
I bet it is.
Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. You want to know what that match is?
Hell in a Cell?
It's a Hell in a Cell high quit match.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, not to be rude, but it's like, look at the legacy that they come from. The Rock.
Rikishi.
No surprise. Oh, is it? Yeah, it's because they're related to Rock and Rikishi or whatever, both of them. So it's like, you know,
that match I'm getting excited for. Like
I just see it on Twitter and I'm like, where'd that come from? Basically,
like you're really getting like over the limit type things, like over the limit 2010 I Quit match. Okay. Oh, let's match Hell in a Cell with an I Quit match. No, you don't need to do that, but okay, like, I'm getting invested into that match, but not really. Okay, Bayley versus Sasha Banks. I'm gonna like that match because there's chemistry there.
And it's something new.
Where in the world did Roman Reigns... Alex, where did Roman Reigns go after WrestleMania?
He went home.
That's a question.
Well, yeah, I read a lot about him having genuine concern about the virus outbreak because he was just recovering from leukemia. They had him all the way over there in Saudi Arabia, and he ended up taking his own plane back. So,
okay,
don't blame him.
You know where he went? He came back where did he earn the shot to win this championship?
I'd just say name value at this point. I don't think they do like who earns it. I just think it's like, what are the biggest numbers of who's on the screen? Throw them in the like. I don't think it's even a matter of like storyline, like
And it's like
contenderism now. It's just who's the name that's getting the big viewership.
And Shane McMahon in 2016 said no rematch allowed. Like no rematch acquired. Okay, well that got thrown out the window when you quit. Now everyone's just getting rematches.
Yeah.
Me, I believe you should have to earn your opportunity instead of just be given it.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that's even kind of going on in AEW right now with like the Cody Rhodes, whatever, like basically like their Intercontinental level title. I can't remember what it's called.
TNT Championship.
The TNT Championship. Yeah, it's like look at all those random guys that are just coming in losing, and we don't see them again.
Cody Rhodes ripped off John Cena from 2015. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I think he's super like overexposed right now. I remember people were saying like he's one of the world's best wrestlers right now. Like he's on the level of like Kurt Angle and like Eddie Guerrero and all that. Like now he's kind of like a little overexposed, and I'm like he's not really like that great.
Did you know John Cena got married?
I did hear that.
I read that. Yeah.
Actually, that's at this point it's rumored. It has not been confirmed yet.
Oh, really? The John Cena marriage.
Yeah, that's rumor, not confirmed.
Thank God. Because
who here has actually watched what is it? The reality show where it's like you do actually see like John Cena at home with what's her name, Brie Bella or whatever. Yeah, like
she was with Nikki. He was with Nikki Bella, not Brie.
Oh yeah,
Daniel,
sorry.
Daniel is married to Brie.
But what did you guys think of the behavior behind closed doors from John? I thought he was like a sick man.
Well, first off, if you actually watch the show, there's this thing called the John Cena Rules episode.
Yeah, I see that.
First off, no one needs that many rules. Okay, no sitting on the couch, no eating on the couch.
Like I thought that was more interesting than like anything he's ever done on WWF TV. I couldn't believe, like, what do you guys think that was like 100% real? Because I'm shocked that they were like, okay, well, we have this guy, does all this Make-A-Wish Foundation. He's like our top guy. It's like what I talked about before. It's like Vince always wanting this like Babe Ruth kind of guy who's
Vince's
like the
boy.
top tier. Yeah, but it's like at the same time they're filming this reality show where he's at home like talking down his wife, yelling at his wife for cooking him supper and like not letting her like not wear shoes around the house or just whatever it was. It's so totally surprising that they were like that they didn't look at that and were like, do we really want this out there? Like that surprises me. Because that show had a lot of viewers, so it wasn't like no one was watching it. Like they knew people were watching it, and they were like, "We're fine with putting this on."
Well. Here's where the thing. There's top 3 guys. Well, this guy isn't really top, but here are the list of Vince's boys: Brock Lesnar, John Cena, Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so I watch like. I'm still a fan of, like, Total Bellas, but I'm not a fan of Total Divas. That can go in the garbage. But, like, I watched, like, through August of 2013, like, okay, so they're going to do a thing revolving his injury, his elbow that looks like a football. Okay. I'm interested in that. Okay, so I'm watching Total Bella. I mean, Total Bella Season 3. So... okay, but you don't need to talk your wife down to those measures that you don't want to get married. Like, okay, I get it. John Cena doesn't want kids. Okay.
But I thought it was even shocking. They did a part where it was like, This is kind of like controversial, so I'll try to keep it as like appropriate as I can, especially like for YouTube and stuff. But like they were having an argument on camera that when John Cena was filming a movie that he actually did a intimate scene.
Oh, on
with
Trainwreck?
I don't know what the movie was. I can't remember, but I do remember that they were having some kind of argument that he actually did the scene. And she didn't know about it and didn't tell her till afterwards. Isn't that crazy? It's like your top like Make-A-Wish Foundation star. It's like this adulterer.
Yeah.
I always found that really interesting that they were like, yeah, let's just go with this. Like, it's hard to tell if it was a character, if it was like how he really is. Like, yeah, I find that really fascinating, to be honest.
And it's like you're talking about John Cena said he will never be like The Rock in 2012.
And he is.
Where is he now? He's making children's books. He's making Fast 9. Okay, so like I'm like a huge fan of Fast and Furious. I want to see where this goes. But he was like on Jimmy Fallon the other day, and he says, "I'm afraid of heights," and I had to do a scene ziplining from building to building. He's afraid of heights.
Well, listen to this. I'll give you the ultimate shocking reality. Like, as you go, like, you know, say there was like tiers of Hollywood, like, you know, say like stage and then movies at the top. I do believe, like, and you guys know, like deep down, I'm a wrestling fan, so this isn't like against wrestling, but I do feel that especially WWE that's all it really probably is in the grand scheme of things, is just like a stepping stone to actually being in like Hollywood movies, because I think deep down like most people in wrestling would want to have that success of The Rock. Like, he's to the point now where people are like calling for him to be president now and stuff like that. So it's like, I do believe that. Like, yes, I love wrestling. I'm not trying to like devalue it, but I do think like in the grand scheme of things, it's kind of like a stepping stone to like bigger things.
Yeah, well, to your point, look at Roman Reigns. He's starting appearing in movies and television shows.
And Dean Ambrose.
And sometimes it doesn't go that well. Like, somebody who's great at WWE might not be that good on movies. Because remember, like, even Bret Hart back, like, when he was champion, had, like, some TV show that didn't even go anywhere. And, like, other big guys, like, I was trying to think of another. Like, Shawn Michaels been in a couple movies, and he's, like, one of the greatest of all time. But he's not really, like, the greatest actor. Like, you know, it's weird how it works like that.
Like Kane, Randy Orton, John Cena was in 12 rounds. Orton was in 12 rounds 2. Dean Ambrose was in 12 rounds 3. And then Kane was in See No Evil and See No Evil 2. I mean, those are like great movies.
And there's Triple H too.
Oh yeah.
Remember? Do you guys ever see
The Chaperone?
What is it? The Chaperone.
No, I never seen it.
I did, yeah. I remember watching it when it came out.
And like the movie that I want to see is Inside Out, and I think there was one more. I think Edge was in a movie. I think Bending the Rules.
He was. Yeah, it was. I see it on Prime there. And still, sorry.
Bending the Rules isn't the greatest movie of all time, but it is a okay movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a big fan of Edge, and I'm saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny. And then, there's one I remember, because I one of the other DVDs I collect, I don't have that many, but I do like to collect horror DVDs, and I have over the years. And I remember getting this one called, like, WrestleManiac or something, and it was like Rey Mysterio, but it did not even look like him, even though it didn't even show his face, like just from his body. It was like, that's not Rey Mysterio.
No, I think it's John. I think it's Rey Mysterio's father in it.
Something like that. I don't know, but it's like advertised like WWE's Rey Mysterio, and it's like very clearly not him. Like,
on that movie Barricade, like, okay, WWE Studios, a wrestler's gonna be in it. What wrestler was in it? because I don't believe any wrestler was in it.
They do random movies too. Like I don't know which one it was, but I remember wasn't CM Punk in some movie there recently? It was on. I didn't watch it. It was like on Netflix or something. The house on the end of the blah 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 or something like that.
The house on the 13th floor.
Yeah, how was that?
That was okay, but not like you really need to watch it.
Right.
But that wasn't brought up by WWE Studios, though.
Oh, it wasn't? It was just like its own thing?
No, because CM Punk wasn't even
what am I
part
thinking?
of WWE.
What am I thinking about? Sorry.
Now, CM Punk has a WWE contract because his fight still went over to WWE after they ended the WWE Backstage.
Yeah.
Oh, that's over now? I didn't even notice.
I thought that was like an okay little thing they were doing. See, it's like, I don't know. I feel like I'm like the person who likes all the weird stuff that everybody thinks is terrible.
Like this. So, like on WWE Backstage, CM Punk was calling out The Miz on Twitter. Okay, so, we're getting CM Punk versus The Miz.
That never happened.
Okay, CM Punk never came back. Shut.
But that's why I thought that was like a cool idea, because it was like they're actually telling like the truth and stuff. It wasn't scripted. Well, it was probably scripted, but it was like kind of more loose. And like another thing I did like, and I feel bad because it is a little inappropriate, but that whole like Jeff Hardy in drinking and driving or whatever it was there like a couple months ago, because it's like people are always like, well, they should do more like reality based like stuff, and then they do something like that and everybody's just like, this is awful, like this is inappropriate. It's like they're not going to do it if he didn't agree to do it.
Or they're actually bringing that storyline in a way back now.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
They on Raw they had Elias return and attack Jeff Hardy, and had Elias was still blaming Jeff Hardy, even though it was technically even though it was said that Sheamus is the one that did it. They said it was the guy with red hair. Who else in WWE besides Sheamus has red hair?
Undertaker.
Well,
no.
Yes, he had red hair that is dyed black.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, these are the people that I've met. I've met Sheamus in 2012. I've met Mark Henry in 2018. And I almost met Jerry the King Lawler.
That's cool.
But like, okay, the Mark Henry thing in 2011 was cool, but was I scared? Yes. I was scared he was probably going to hurt somebody. Like, for real. Like, okay, wow. This guy, okay, so you break the ring with big, okay, everything has to do with breaking the ring except this thing at Payback that we're not going to talk about. Everything that I've seen has to do with Big Show. Brock Lesnar, 2003. Mark Henry and Big Show at Vengeance. And then Big Show and Braun Strowman in 2018.
Yeah, it was almost kind of like passing the torch to Strowman that he's the new Big Show.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating, I thought, because I've kind of been like following that, and I know I already talked about it. It does blow my mind. It's like they pick Big Show, like that real guy, whatever his real name is, move him out, pick the other guy up, drop him there. There you go. Like, pretty much. Like, I could totally see Big Show, like, winning a tag title with, like, a kid and, like, all that stuff.
Yeah, like, at WrestleMania 34, it was rumored that Bobby Lashley was coming back, which he did. It was rumored that Boogeyman was coming back. So...
Oh, I don't think so.
You see, okay, well, probably wasn't Boogeyman, but it was supposed to be Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman versus The Bar. And I'm like saying, like, okay, Bobby Lashley's coming back. I haven't seen him in like 11 years. Okay, awesome. where's Bobby Lashley's music?
Hmm.
And it was supposed to be like passing the torch because it was supposed to be Bobby Lashley versus Lesnar. We never got that.
No, I'm
And it was,
surprised. Yeah.
and like, okay, Lesnar versus, I mean, not Lesnar, Lashley versus Finn Balor. Wait, where's the I mean, I seriously had to do that with my friend on 2K19. Lashley versus Brock Lesnar for the for the Universal Championship. Like, I would have loved that match,
Interesting.
but we never got it.
Don, do you have any other questions you want to ask?
Yeah, we sort of.
Now I'm just waiting on anything else you want to talk about.
I'm good.
Doesn't even have to be wrestling related.
Well, the big thing is we got the at least NXT has finally have a spot in WWE, unlike 2010 BS. And then, like, you have the Pete Dunne. Awesome. I love the way he just, like, where did he go? Like, did he?
Okay, can I ask one question?
Go ahead.
Okay, just because it is the time of the season and I love this time of year, let's talk about, like, what's your favorite, like, horror series or movie?
Horror series would probably be
Yeah.
Breaking Bad.
That's not horror. That's like crime drama.
Sort of. But, okay, well, horror would probably. One of the scariest movies I've seen would, well, it's not really scary, but it has to do with the dark web. It would probably be Unfriended Dark Web, or just like I would sit down, like one time I sat down on Halloween night watching The Boy on Netflix
Mm-hmm.
in pure darkness. And like I watched The Invisible Man in pure darkness. I mean, I can do that. Most of my friends wouldn't even touch a horror movie. Oh, but my favorite horror movie of all time would have to be Stay Alive in 2006 with
Wow.
Frankie Muniz. I can watch that 3 or 4 times. And
Wow. What about
Like-
you, Gregory? I'm curious.
I'm not really a big movie fan, honestly. I
Yeah.
used to work at a movie theater in Philadelphia.
Oh, cool.
But I'm into music and wrestling. That's
Yeah. What about you, Donnie? Do you watch horror?
The only horror that at least I count as horror would be the original Charmed.
Okay.
I want to see every Friday the 13th, but I think I've seen the first one and the third one. I've seen Jason Goes to Hell.
Yeah, I've seen like all those horror movies basically, like all of them, like all the Friday the 13th, all Nightmare. You name it, I've probably seen like all of them. Yeah, I like those a lot. They're fun. Don't watch them all the time, but I love watching them like in this time of year. A lot of fun.
Now, for me, I'm not sure if these would be counted as a horror movie.
Right.
I know it would be counted as a Halloween movie. It's the Mandia Halloween movies.
Oh yeah. Those are funny.
Is there anything any of you guys want to talk about?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I wish I could think of something else, but it's kind of hard. Oh man, I don't know. Any of you guys play video games at all, or?
I have I have played video games in the past.
Yeah. Do you like no? You don't like play them at all anymore?
No, I don't play anymore.
Okay.
The last game I played was at 2K20. I just bought it because I wanted to see how bad it was. And
Yeah.
I played it once, and
That I just bought 2K Battlegrounds, and okay, thank God it was $40. Holy crap! I'm saying I'm gonna say if that was 80, no way. It only has 15 superstars, and
Yeah, as soon as I seen that, I was like, "There's no way I'm buying that." And I'm like a big wrestling game fan, and I was like, "There's no way I'm buying that at all." I was like, "I don't even want to support it. I don't want," because they basically made that instead of like a new wrestling game this year.
yeah,
Like,
and I believe okay. Why would you make that when it is COVID, but you can't make it 2K21? Like, okay, you're gonna stop production on 2K20. Okay, I respect that.
Wrong. They stopped 2K21 because of all the problems they had in 2K20.
yeah.
Oh, well, I see that, but why? But why make 2K Battleground then?
To
I
try to
thi-
work out the bugs for out of 2K20.
yeah, I think they're trying to make an actual effort to like do something new. But it was really misguided with like that. I think that's kind of like almost like a holdover in that sort of series because that's kind of coming from that series, almost like that WWF the arcade game, and then to like Legends of Wrestling, and then to like WWE All Stars, and now to Battlegrounds. So that's almost kind of like its own series. So I think basically,
Battlegrounds will never be All Stars.
yeah, no, that's definitely true. But there is one interesting thing that I've been following on Twitter is that there is some other company making like some other wrestling game, and they're just like giving all these contracts to these random like non-signed guys. Like I think RVD is going to be in it, and just a bunch of random guys.
I believe Kenny Omega is making, or not Kenny Omega himself, but they're making an AEW game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Actually, I will be buying that.
Yeah, and I think they okay, they need to bring back all of these like style matches, like a casket match, an ambulance match. They say they're gonna bring back GM mode. They never bring back GM mode. Like the only thing in 2K Battlegrounds there is a Royal Rumble, one-on-one matches, steel cage matches. There's not even a Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, I know. I play like my main wrestling game that I play like when I play one is probably 19.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anyway, so 19 and I don't think like it's like they take so much out of them every year. That's like kind of I don't know. I'm really not happy with them. So
Well, the reason I got out of playing games,
yeah,
period, was I was only playing the wrestling games, and when I quit, and they would then have all the features that I enjoyed in the wrestling games, like the GM mode or the casket match and ambulance matches and stuff like that.
yeah. Yeah, I literally like keep a PS2, like just like a little small one in my closet, and I have like a bunch of wrestling games. So most times if I get like an urge to play a wrestling game, I'll just like grab this TV I have in the closet and just like hook that up somewhere and play for like an hour or two. And I seem to have just so much more fun with those than even playing like 2K19.
Like I can't believe this. I played 8 straight hours of the release of 2K Battlegrounds. I played 8 hours of that.
Oh jeez.
And I also played 8 hours straight of WWE 13.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was playing it on the Wii and back in 2012. I didn't know I played it for 8 hours, but I knew that the Wii kept score of how many hours you played. I played that for 8 straight hours, and I seriously fell because of how long I played that.
Wow.
I guess Patrick left.
Yeah, he might have had bad connection or something. Oh no, he's back. He's back.
Nope, sorry about that. I was plugging in my phone. But you have anything else on games?
Not really. It's like something I'm kind of starting to even get out of. Like, I was never a big gamer, but sometimes I will just play something on the computer, something to kind of just like chill out, more or less.
I would pull a game I would usually play is Randy's Jailbreak off of some website. I would play 5 minutes to kill yourself, probably. I don't know. I really am. I mean, I'm a big computer gamer, but like these games I'm talking about, I can't even download on my computer anymore.
Right.
And like, did you like what era did you like the ECW? Did you like the old era or like the 2009 2010 era?
Me, I like the original ECW where where Paul Heyman owned ECW, not
Yeah.
WWE's ECW.
Yeah, that was terrible. The ECW version, WWE version.
I'm kind of like, I don't know. I obviously it's like ECW is just one of those things. It's like, obviously I should really like it. I guess first of all, I didn't grow up watching it. Mostly I just have the DVDs. I don't know. There's something about it that's like, I don't know. It doesn't really do much for me. There's this other federation I like called like FMW or something. It's kind of like, it was like the Japanese like ECW for its time. I like that a lot more than ECW actually. There's just something about ECW that just never really like grabbed me. But I did think some of the matches they did for like the WWE, like WWE ECW Federation was actually not too bad. Like they did some cool ones like Sabu versus Big Show and like RVD versus Cena and stuff. So I don't know.
Sabu versus Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, like they tried to do some cool matches with that. Like it got worse over time though. Like when ECW's like Tommy Dreamer versus Christian with like Tommy Dreamer coming out with the hot dog cart.
Okay, so Christian versus Jack Swagger, Mark Henry versus Matt Hardy.
Can I tell one funny story actually?
Go ahead.
This is funny. I was on like a live stream of Tommy Dreamer one time and on Twitch or whatever, he was talking and there wasn't that many people there, so I asked him a question. I was like, were you pissed when WWE made you come out with a hot dog cart instead of like the shopping cart with the weapons? And he was literally like, yeah, I was pissed. And then he was kind of like, you know what? I wasn't pissed. He's like, I came out with a hot dog cart in the original ECW. And I was like, no, you didn't. I didn't say that, but I was thinking like, I doubt that. It's like he was just trying to be like, it was like he said he hated it. And then he was like, oh, wait, WWE might hire me again. Oh, I didn't mind it. Like, that's what I've always done.
Like I could see that happening.
There's no way WWE is going to hire Tommy Dreamer again because he's not that good.
Bad.
Because he's not that good of a.
Parkwood, so he can't.
Did you
Do
know?
you think they're
like,
going to rehire?
Like 2 months ago, he was literally like in a main event, like world title match for like Impact.
Was he? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was. And literally, I commented on the video and I was like, oh, it's so awesome that Tommy's actually like in a main event match, like on any like US promotion right now. And I swear to God, he actually messaged me himself and was like, hey, thanks for watching. And I was like, oh man, like that's so nice of you to do that. Like, it's pretty cool.
I got to meet Tommy Dreamer in Philadelphia a couple times. Always a nice guy to me.
Yeah.
He's like, it's
like I just got this on my Twitter feed. Is this so like Brothers of Destruction, an upcoming WWE Network documentary about The Undertaker and Kane will make its world premiere at Austin Film Festival. Who would want to see that? Okay.
Not me.
They didn't
Oh.
really like what they weren't like a tag team for like 10 years or something. Didn't they just kind of like tag up randomly? Like I don't really remember. No,
Yeah,
like
2005, and then like they didn't, or oh, I'm sorry, like 2006.
when was like the first time they ever like teamed up? Must have been like 2000 or like
I think it was 1990. The Brothers of Destruction, or 2000 or 2001.
yeah.
And then they didn't team up until like 2012. Oh, that wasn't really a team up. That was a choke slam and tombstone.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to talk about?
I'm good.
I just can't think of anything else. Yeah, sorry.
I think Alex and me have to become friends now. We have to find our social media platforms.
Alex is a good guy.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any that you know of?
I just do a Twitter and I have a YouTube channel where I sometimes will like just talk. Basically, like it's fun. Like
All
wrestling
right.
usually.
So, I'll text on here to get your Twitter because I'm on my computer. I would really like to.
Yeah, I'm working on something I'm going to be doing. I have a couple people messaging me about it. I just haven't like picked who I'm going to do it with, but I wanting to do this like a podcast type thing where I watch like the first maybe 2 or 3 episodes of like the Hogan Knows Best and then review that and talk about that. So look out for that coming in the sometime future.
All right.
I'll check it out.
So I guess we'll end with chatting with right now, and we will chat. We'll start with Alex. Want to go ahead and give the socials.
Yeah, you can find me for my wrestling stuff at Twitter at Pro Wrestling Reality. And then my YouTube account is called Alex Legal Research. So thank you.
Gregory?
I'm on Facebook, Gregory Kramer. I'm on Twitter, The Real Gregory K. I'm on Instagram, Gregory Kramer 1. I'm on YouTube, Gregory Kramer, or GK Kramer 123.
Patrick?
And I am on YouTube at Porter's Unboxings or Porter Unboxings. I'm at Twitter here, or Twitter at Patrick Porter, and I'm on Facebook also at Patrick Porter. And you guys can message me anytime you feel like it, and that's what I have.
And for me, YouTube and Facebook, Donnie Langston, and then Twitter and at 5. See you guys next time.